Hello everybody and welcome to my first KTANE tutorial. In this tutorial I will be covering Kudoku. Kudoku is a module, let me quickly show it to you, that looks a little bit like Sudoku in its base form, but its core principle is a little bit different. So let's read the manual together. This module shows a 6x6 grid with digits in each cell. Whenever a digit is pressed, the digit toggles in this order. Digit, crossed out, circled. Let me show this to you real quickly. If you press a digit other than the already circled digit, this is the given digit, we cannot click on it. If we were to click on this 5 here, we would go from digit to crossed out to circled. Circle every digit from 1 to 9 exactly once, in such a way that the sum of the circled digits in each row and column is equal to or less than 9. Now, what does that mean? This means that we have to circle every digit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we already have an 8, and 9, exactly once. So we have 9 circles in this whole 6x6 grid. But the second statement tells us that there are some constraints, namely that each row and each column cannot have circled digits in such a way that the sum of the circled digits is greater than 9. Now we already have this in the very first row. We have 8 plus 4 is 12, so we are greater than 9. So this wouldn't work. So let's see if we can deduce something from this. Now, since this 8 is circled, we know that this 4 wouldn't work, this 6 wouldn't work, this 7, this 3, and this 2 wouldn't work. All of these digits together with 8 would be greater than 9. Same for all of these. This is for the column. Now, it also says, the manual also says that every digit from 1 to 9 is exactly circled once, which means that we can already cross out all the other 8s that are still on the grid, because we don't need them anymore. The 8 is already given. Now let's see if we can deduce something from looking at the grid. Now we know that we need at least one 1. We have 2 1s in this whole cell. Now a common strategy in Kudoku is to see what common cross point. When you have 2 or 3, sometimes it works with 4 digits of one more occurrences, 4 occurrences of a single digit. When you have multiple occurrences of the same digit, there you go. I'm sorry, English is not my native language. When you have more occurrences of a digit, that to look for the common cross point. Now, in this case, the common cross point would be 5 and 6. The 6 would see both ones, and the 5 would see both ones. Now, this information with the 1 in particular sadly doesn't help us, because a 5 plus a 1 would still work, as the same as a 6 and a 1 would still work, because it would just add up to 7 or 6 respectively. So let's look for the next digit that we have. We have 2. We have 2 2s here. Now this is interesting because, as you can see, both 2s are in column 3. So this column 3 will have a 2, which means that the column 3 cannot have this 9. If this 9 were to be true, it would kill all our 2s that we would have available. So we know that this 9 is not valid. Now let's look for the 3s, for example. We have these 3s, and sadly they don't have a common cross point. Techniques that you use in Sudoku, like this would be an X ring, Sudoku, some form of an X-wing. These techniques don't work in Kyudoku because Kyudoku is fundamentally much different from a Sudoku. But one thing that I saw is, for example, these nines here. Now we have these 3 nines, and they both have a common cross point, namely this one. This one would see all nines, and if we were to circle this one, we would effectively kill every other 9. So we know for a fact that this one is not the correct one to pick. And since we only had 2 ones, we know that this one is the correct one. Now, together with all the others, so we sadly cannot cross out something else in the row or the column where the 1 is, because a 1 plus a 3, for example, would still only make 4 and not greater than 9. So let's see. Can we do something with the 7 here, for example? Yes. We see that the 7 has 2 common cross points, namely the 3 and this 9. And we know that 7 plus 3 is 10, 7 plus 9 is 16, so both are greater than 9. So we know that the 9 and the 3 cannot be, otherwise we would kill our 7s. Now let's see further. Now we only have these 2 9s, and they both are in the same row. So we know that the 2 and the 5 here cannot be active, otherwise we would kill all our 9s. So the 2 and the 5 can go away. Now we only have 1 2 left. If I see that correctly, yes, we only have 1 2 left in the grid. How about 3? We still have 3 3s. How about 4s? Our 4s are all in the bottom row, but yet again, if we were to select this 4, we could still select this 3, or we could still select this 3. So we cannot cross out these 3s just by the fact that the 4s are in the same row. Let's look at 6s. 6s don't help us. Let's look at 7s. We already had 7s. Let's look at 9. Let's look at 9. 9s don't help us either. So now we would have to make some form of a guess. Now, what guess would help us the most? Let's think about this. I prefer to make a guess with a number that will effectively kill other numbers. So, for example, if we were to pick the 7 here, we would have the 7 would mean that this 6 goes away, this 6 goes away, this 3 goes away. And this would mean that we are now with 9 in this row, so this would still work. We now have only these 2 6s left, so of course the 7 goes away because we already have a 7. But this looks like it won't, so we don't run into a contradiction with this hypothesis. So I will try another hypothesis and see if we will run into a contradiction faster. So let's quickly reverse what we did there. Let's, for example, try this 9 here. So if we were to select this 9 of course goes away. The 6, 6 and 4 here goes away. Now we would have only 1 4 left. Now we are 4 and 2. Now we have 4 and 2 in this situation here, which means that we are already at a sum of 6. So this 5 cannot be anymore. We would now have to select this 5 here. This would still work. Now this 7 cannot be. We would now have to select this 7. This 6 cannot be. We would now have to select this 6. And if I see that correctly, yes, this in fact was the solution for it. Sometimes when you follow a hypothesis and see that it brings you to the solution, just go through with it. But with the other hypothesis, we still had many numbers left. So it wasn't as clear as if this would be the solution or not. Let's look at another one. Let's look at, for example, this one here. Now, as before, We see that the 7 is circled, so we can cross out every other 7 that is still on the grid. And we can cross out everything that is in the row and column as the 7 that would add up to more than 9. Now, what can we do now? I see that we have this 9, this 9, this 9, and this 9. They all have a common cross point, which is this 6. So if this 6 were true, we would kill every 9, so the 6 is false. Let's look at 8s. Where are our 8s? We have this 8, this 8, and this 8, and this 8. They do not have a common cross point, as you can see, because they are aligned in such a way which does not align in one single cell for all. So nothing to do there. We have a 7. We have 6s. Where are our 6s? We see this 6. And I don't see any other 6, so we know that this is the 6 that we have to use, because it is the only 6 left in the whole cell, in the whole grid. Which means we can get rid of this 9 and this 9, and we can get rid of this 5, and we can get rid of this 8. Now I kill these two 9s, which would mean that all the other 9s are now in this row. I know that from the previous lookage at the 9. So now we can kill this 8 and this 5. Because as previous, if we were to select the 8 or the 5, we would kill all the remaining 9s. Now let's look at the 8s again, because we have killed some of the 8s. We now have this 8 and this 8, and now they have a common cross point, the 1 and the 4. The 1 doesn't matter, because 1 plus 8 would be 9, so that would still be acceptable, but we have this 4 here, and this 4 cannot be. So let's look at something else. Let's look at the 3s, for example. We only have 1 3 left in this whole grid. Yes, we only have this 3. Now this excuse me, this 3 implies that this 9 is not true. And so it has to be this 9, because this 3 sees this 9, and we only have 1 9 left after that, so this is our 9. Which means this whole row can go away, because whatever you add to 9, you are greater than 9. Now let's look. We only have 1 1 left, we only have 1 5 left, and we only have 1 8 left. So these now were just the digits that were just the only ones, the only occurrences of that specific digit in the grid. So I circled these, and now I will look for digits that will make a row or a column greater than 9. For example, in this row we can kill all the 2s. And this would mean that we are here at 6 plus 2 would still work, 8, but this 2 wouldn't work. 2 plus 8 would be 10. So in fact it is this 2, and this 4 can go away, so it is this 4. Okay, I hope I have showed you how to do Kudoku, and I hope I have showed you some tricks on how to do Kudoku a little bit more efficient. Sometimes you need to do a little bit of guesswork, but most of the time you can get pretty far by logical deduction. Now, just as a heads up, the grids that have 1 circled are most of the times those grids where you have to do a little bit more guesswork than if there were to, for example, be a 9 circled from the beginning, because a 9 crosses out much more digits than a 1 would. Anyway, I hope I have helped you a little bit, and thank you for your time, and I hope I have showed a little bit insight on how to do Kudoku. So, if any further questions arise, you feel free to contact me on Discord. I'm on the official KTANE Discord server. My name's Goofy there. And yeah, see you next time.